We gotta get audition.
Theirs is
Wait, can you turn the recorder on?
another frequency
Yeah.
being, you would say, activated on your planet. Yet it's always there. The body now, physical form, bones, are beginning to recognize it as a tension. You're familiar with grid lines on your planet. You're familiar with electrical frequency current. You interpret electrical frequency as feelings. Incorporated within the wordings. Your planet is expanding. Earthquakes, volcanoes, etc. You're on it, walking on the grid lines of the expansion. You too are expanding. Your skulls are starting to, at the suture lines, move apart, so to speak. Yet they become they have to be willing to accept the expansion. This is your what you call your process of ascension. For when you die the body, you leave it. You do. And you look upon it as you leave. And you would say, recognize the mistakes in the performance of your duties. And duties being allowing life in species development. So you see the constructs of your denials of equality. It was into competition greater than thing. You're not. The bonds you have are your database of memory throughout your incorporated form. And in the you have to use your words in a judicial process. By that I mean understanding of the law, L-A-W, law. It's the process of that law that allows you to form your body and your organs with the permission granted by what you say is the color of your knowledge. The distinction, light and dark thing, and the in-betweens. Your bonds are harmonic instruments, and the performance of the knowledge within the system of the harmonics determined by color. The colors you wear, the colors you contemplate, the colors you breathe in. And as you begin to regard yourself as different yet the same, and your harmonics are in a manner becoming more fine-tuned, the ascension process takes place within the grounding process of you. The performance of what is termed the speciality of the development you chose to work within the construct of human form. The moment you became a little one, out of nothing, you knew you had form. You knew it. And you knew as you grew you had to perform within the system of the other forms that are around you. As you go to school, pass tests, you have to answer the questions according to the teacher as it was taught. Yet as the expansion occurs, the questions become more known before they're asked, and you are determined to be the answer. So now the human condition's in the process of understanding who the teacher is, and it's not a who, it's a what. So what? How do you know how to breathe? You don't think about it. It's a reflective action. It's the how now you're learning to understand the who is. You are the how. And within that confusion is the argument. It's in the argument of the denial of yourself, pretty much. Because you're requiring others for the performance of your knowledge. Acceptance or rejectance, doesn't matter. It's what you play upon. And in the acceptance and rejectance is where you come forth with your anger on things of self or not self. Nature now is changing because the planet is expanding. And so too as the grid lines move with the expansion of the planet, it is like you are going to realize that you are on railroad tracks on these grid lines. You're feeling the shifting. Right now you think it's in the space, and to call the spiritual forces around are coming and influencing and da-da-da-da, and they are, because they don't have physical form. But those that are not in form, that are in your worlds, because you're going through the concept of 3 worlds now. Physical, the next, you're going to find what out the mental is and what it isn't. The performance of the wisdom that you have gained in this time and space is going to be becoming more displayed. And by that I mean within the auric field. You're going to be seeing less of the human and more of the auric. Your eyes are going to change. Your ancient reptilian form, reptilian consciousness is coming up now. That's the dark part of you. The ones that doesn't know how to do. Has a desire to learn. But in the consciousness of the darkness, the fear comes forth. Because you are seeing now in your world, in your consciousness, in your verbiage, that the spiritual teachings are not performing the way they should be performing within the consciousness of the human for the continuity of life. Killing everything, including yourselves, with pesticides and that, and bullets, and cutting heads off because the belief system's not the same. That's a radical display of ignorance. You are living through that process for a reason, to understand what self-determination is. And then this issue comes up where you have an ignorant desire to leave the body because it's going to be better somewhere else. But you don't know that, and it's not. Because it's your developed consciousness, not understanding who the teacher is. And it's the space you're in. For the many entities, just simply in the space you're in, and that's what you're feeling on your face now. The blessing of the great one's calming self. Calm. Because all of your flesh, your skin, is an interpretive organ. It breathes and contemplates. Yet in the human condition, you look at the mirror and how beautiful you are or not. Criticize and judge yourself and try to perform better for others. You perform better when to understand the feeling in your bones. Not for the performance of another. The performance of the others will understand as you proceed, because as you proceed, the health automatically given by the bones, it's automatic, because that's where your blood comes from. And it's the blessing of the Holy Spirit that causes that. And when your bone's aching, you're not in the correct position in the contemplation. You've all heard that. You are already in the meditation. Somewhere. And your consciousness, by that I mean your world's consciousness now, is going through the argument of it. That's why you have I have to say, the understanding that the gates of hell have been opened. Yeah. Lesser ones are coming up, other ones are coming down. And there's a ring above you that doesn't want you to go above that ring. But you have to understand that you are the performer of yourself. Not for the display of others. No. But the continuity of the unit called you, because you're responsible as you are into this next knowing for your genetic line, your children, your parents, because they have come back as children already, whether you know that or not. And the responsibility there is in the frequency of what is Uttam up, yet it's down, it's present, it's health, it's joy, in truth it's ecstasy, because you're going to soon figure out that within the breath of you, as you intake, there's also the water that's in the air. There's the water there, but you don't know how to utilize it yet. You don't. You're working with it. The system, meaning body form, is unique. Unique throughout all of the universe. And there are those that are envious of that uniqueness. And that's why you have so many ones coming to be born, just to be born, to have a body, to just experience for a moment what bones are with consciousness. Something to hold on to. Something to wrap the self around as a unique organ, entity, building. It's in the social structures you've forgotten all of this. And that's why this epidemic, we're going to call it, of suicides are taking place. It's all over now. All over. It's a sense of the winnings are not available for the true understanding of it. It's a greater sense of despair within the unsuccessfulness of self. sense of want to go back where you came from, but you don't know where you came from, or how you did it, actually. You are being reconnected now to the invisible dimensions, the ones that have come before you, the spiritual teachers, all of them are still present in your life state in your manner. You could feel them and be blessed by them if you understood truly the importance of your fingers and your toes and your hands. It gives you the ability to grasp and touch. And that's why you have linear time, to slow you down in the process of becoming more. Because your sun just doesn't stay there in this universal concept of where it is as always. It travels. That's why time is a direction. It travels. And in its traveling, it's pulling the planets with it that spiral around it. It's moving. The whole unit of your cosmology is directional, and it's moving to the center, as you would say, for confirmation of the formation completion. Because the one that's planet, because you helped build all of it, not just the planet. The planets are revolving around the sun. The stars. You humans are responsible for those stars. But you're not aware of that complexity of the responsibility there. You're predetermined and preformed. The beings call it fate, but it's not really fate. That's the word you use for an inexplicable combinations of processes that you agreed to. The moment you understand the significance of the left nostril, and then the breath within the right nostril, and the breath that comes into the mouth, and the exhale that comes out of the mouth, or the nostrils. The moment you understand that significance, the more invincible you become. Because you will find out that you are breathing for everyone. And that is why we said you're going to feel a breath come from behind you to breathe you. It's not you, yet it is you. It's part of the greater agreement for the continuity of your life everywhere. Because the breather of you at that moment knows you. And I'm not going to put a name on it, because your names can confuse you. And you're not into the appreciation of the darkness of the void, which is the space between the stars, which for your concept would be understood as the robe of the Divine Mother. The stars are her decorations, in a manner. That presence is becoming available to be recognized. See? And that's why your planet is expanding. The interior of the earth is pushing upward. You're getting plasma discharges now coming up from the planet. You're getting lightning now coming up from the planet, not just down from the ground. There's a communication in an electrical current. It's affecting the grid systems. You're walking on those grid systems. You are railroad cars on railroad tracks, but you're not aware of it. It's in the space, it's cubic. And within the cube, you're developing spherical consciousnesses. Spheres, like crystal spheres. That's why this fascination with crystals now is so strong, especially the spherical portion. Because that's where your consciousness resides, within those units. You have you've heard the term 144,000 to be reclaimed, redeemed, ascended, the word you put. Those are your crystalline spheres. You have termed them your 144,000 spiritualized cells. Those are the ones you are developing, you're becoming. You do it in units of 12.